If you're a survivor of narcissistic abuse, what I'm about to tell you is going to seem so obvious that even if you didn't think about it consciously before, you are going to know it innately. Prolonged exposure to emotional abuse changes the human brain. It changes it physiologically. I want to talk about the hippocampus and I want to talk about the amygdala. The hippocampus is a paired structure within both of the temporal lobes of your brain. And it's typically responsible for handling short-term memories and the codification of short-term memories into longer-term memories. The thing about living with a narcissist is that they try to force you to live in a state of anxiety and turmoil at almost all times, which ends up triggering an older part of the brain that's associated with survival called the amygdala. The amygdala deals with circumstances where you may be in fear for your life. And it focuses you into a fight, flight, or freeze type of response. So when you live in constant fear of whatever the consequence is with your abuser, ultimately, your brain stops triggering the hippocampus to be able to codify short-term memories into longer-term memories, and instead continuously engages the amygdala. This causes your hippocampus to shrink and causes your brain to become hardwired to respond to almost any type of stimulus as though it requires the amygdala's intervention. This is why we end up suffering things like abuse amnesia. If we can't codify our short-term memories into longer-term memories, then it's going to be extremely difficult for us to live with the reality of what our abuser does with us daily or does to us daily. It puts so much cortisol into your system that you're more likely to engage the amygdala and see everything as a threat. And as well, when you get triggered, it makes things even more difficult to deal with because your amygdala is already primed to react. Now, the good news is, once you recognize that you're in a narcissistic and toxic relationship, once you leave, there are ways that you can reverse the damage that has been done to your brain. There are therapies that can be done with neuroscientists that demonstrate a regrowth in the amygdala, but not all of us have access to those types of resources. So other things that you actually can do that have been peer-reviewed and proven to help include guided meditation, random acts of kindness, and cognitive behavioral therapy, allowing you to counteract the effects of that abuse amnesia and to recognize reality for what it was. So hopefully this video is helpful for you. The reality is abuse does change our brains, but once we accept that this has happened, we can take steps to change it back.